Hey everybody, my name is Chris and welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome. Tonight's video is all about the 10 fragrances I picked up because of you, my friends and my subscribers. I've had so many great recommendations and I've picked up lots of lovely fragrances in the year of 2022 thanks to you, but I had to narrow it down to 10 just to make the list manageable, and those that I don't mention I will make sure I put in another video. These fragrances are in no particular order and the vast majority of these are from my subscribers, my viewers. I think only two in here are ones that were suggested to me by other creators. And with that, let's just get started. These are in no particular order, but I'm going to start off the list with one fragrance I think I got right in January. It definitely could have made my top 22 of 22, but I wanted to make sure that I included it in this video so that the person responsible for me purchasing this fragrance could get properly recognized. And it's a lovely person that goes by the name of the one and only Kathy, and she was so kind and sent me some decants, but she did say in particular this one fragrance was one that stole her heart, and it stole mine as well, and it is called Starlight, one I've talked about so many times before, both here and on Instagram. This is getting a lot of attention over on Instagram. People kind of figured out that this was a delicious fragrance, and when I bought this, it had just kind of come out, so I loved it so much, I actually paid full price for it, and I was okay with that because it was so good. Now the price has come down substantially. I know a lot of people who've actually bought it from the gray market, like fragrancebuy.ca, saved about $100, saved a significant amount of money purchasing this now on the gray market, and I don't regret for one moment what I paid for it because it is absolutely spectacular. It's a very spicy perfume and it's great in the cold. It has cloves, a very prominent cardamom. It's one of my favorite gourmands to wear in the cold. So there's cinnamon, almond, cloves, vanilla, and a prominent note of cardamom. It's all swimming in this delicious bed of amber. I know vanilla is not listed as a note, but vanilla's in here. It's a vanillic amber, or it's an ambery vanilla. This smells like a spicy almond sponge cake served with a frothy chai latte, and that's really what I get when I smell this delicious fragrance. It's very holiday to me. It reads holiday because the spices in here are kind of Christmas spices, but I don't wear it exclusively in the holidays. I started wearing it in September and I will wear it all the way through May because it's still pretty cold. It can be really cold here in May. It doesn't get consistently warm until June. So I'll be wearing this for several more months. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much, my dear, the one and only Kathy, for this. There are so many purchases I made in the year 2022 thanks to a lovely friend. Her name is Stacy, and she has sent me, probably 50 decants of the most amazing fragrances, and I've probably purchased at least 10 fragrances based on the samples that she sent me. But one that I think of that really stuck out to me was Trajan by Electimuss. Oh my gosh, this was one of my favorite pickups of last year because in a way it kind of reminds me of one of my favorite fragrances of all time, Baccarat 540. It's not the same, but it kind of has similar vibes. This is a fresher, lighter, a little bit cleaner, citrusy take on Baccarat 540. There are some really nice fresh citruses at the top. There's orange, lemon, bergamot. This also has saffron, but it's not as saffron forward. It has some aromatics. There's lavender, maybe some thyme. But they both share ambergris, which is responsible for that sillage that you get from that beautiful sillage when someone walks by wearing Baccarat 540. A lot of that is the ambergris, and it's in here, but it's not as loud. It's not as prominent. It also has cedar and it has oak moss in here. So this one, oh gosh, I love it. It made this one and Baccarat 540 together made my top 10 for life because that DNA is just a DNA that I adore. But this one I think is less controversial. It's less polarizing. It's very likable. It doesn't have that spun sugar sweetness, and there's none of that Band-Aid-y thing going on or dentist office thing that other people can smell in Baccarat 540. When I wear this, it sits very close to the skin, but when people get in my scent bubble or give me a hug, oh my gosh, compliment getter. I wore this to like a family birthday over the summer, and every single person that kind of gave me a hug and said hello said, oh my gosh, you smell so good, what are you wearing? And it was Trajan. Thank you so much, Stacy, for all the beautiful decants you sent me and terrific purchases which resulted from those decants. The next one is another Xerjoff fragrance, and I have my friend Katrina to thank for this suggestion. She also sent me a big collection. She sent me these amazing decants, and I fell in love with 70% of them, and this is only the first of many bottles I will be purchasing from those decants, and it is called Neo. This is a very fresh, realistic take on citruses. So I want to say there's lemon and grapefruit and or orange. It's a very realistic citrusy perfume with just a touch of greenness that never goes bitter. And it has a real nice but subtle spiciness to it from pink pepper and cardamom and some other spice. I want to say maybe nutmeg. I'm getting my little dabber, my blotter. It's fresh, it's citrusy, it's green but not soapy or bitter. And Neroli is the flower in here. So it does smell like orange blossom that has a heavy dose of greenness. And that's really kind of how Neroli smells. It definitely gets drier and more woody and slightly more sweet in the dry down. Even though I would not remotely call this a sweet fragrance, it gets less green, less citrusy, more woody, and slightly more sweet. And a little bit of amber, I want to say, in the base. This is definitely a fragrance that you could wear year-round because it's one of the few citrus-heavy fragrances that actually has very good performance. This is an outstanding performer. I would call this moderate to strong, a great performer. And even though it reads warmer weather, to me, definitely all year round appropriate. So thank you, Katrina, for that one. So since I have been doing YouTube, I've met so many lovely people, both subscribers who have become my friends and other creators, many of whom have become my friends as well. As you get to know people's preferences, you figure out who has tastes similar to yours. And another creator that I met here on YouTube that I would definitely call, not only I would call her my scent sibling, I would call her my scent sister, is Yulia from scentsiblings.ca. She and I have very similar tastes. We both love gourmands. And I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but she actually sent me a DM and said, I don't usually recommend blind buying, but I think if you blind bought this one, you would enjoy this, because I was waiting to get a sample before I bought it. And when she said that, I said, fine. Like if Yulia says to blind buy something, I will blind buy it. Even though for me, 2023 is the year of no blind buys. Well, I say no blind buy, but that means significantly less blind buying. And I'm doing a great job so far for the first 14 days, 14, 16, whatever. Is it the 16th? I don't know. Anyway, so I blind bought this fragrance. I blind bought this fragrance, and of course I loved it because Yulia knows me so well, and it's very rare when one of us likes something and the other one doesn't, and it's Apres. Is it even supposed to be French? Yeah, Apres by Ellis Brooklyn. This line is very hit and miss for me. This was a great blind buy, and yet one of Ellis Brooklyn releases from last year was one of my most disastrous blind buys. And if you want me to do a video on my 10 biggest disastrous blind buys, let me know in the comments below. I'm not planning on it, but if I get enough people who want to see that, I'm happy to do it. But fortunately, a successful blind buy. This is a fragrance that's very transportive. It really does transport me somewhere different. I don't live in the mountains, surrounded by trees, covered with snow. And in the cold weather, that's really what I get. This is a very woody fragrance, particularly cedar. This has a very strong cedar note, but it also has a strong juniper note. There's some spices in here. You know, there's cardamom and saffron, a little bit of whiskey, even though it's not overly boozy. So the vibe I get is you're sitting on your deck. You have a log cabin. It just snowed. The trees are covered in snow. You're sitting on your deck with, a cocktail, a whiskey cocktail. And in the cocktail, there's like a sprig of juniper. You're just kind of taking it all in. And to me, that's what it smells like. Interestingly enough, when I wear this on the warmer days, some of the warmer notes come out on me. I get more of the leather. I get more of a dustiness, a dryness, and it's a drier fragrance when it's hotter. So this is definitely a shapeshifter. I adore it. It's a clean fragrance, I believe. One that I'm very happy that I picked up because I do love fresh, woody fragrances. So thank you, Yulia, for making me blind buy it. The next fragrance is a result of some samples that were sent to me by a lovely subscriber. She goes by the name Seeking Starwater. And every time she sends me decants, they're fragrances I've never heard of. I've never heard anyone talk about. And some of them have been discontinued. A lot of them are harder to find. One of the decants she sent me was very special, and I knew that early on that I did want to buy a bottle of it, but it is on the pricier side. It is by Cartier. I usually do my big hauls in December because the best perfume sales are in December. So I do most of my perfume purchasing in December to take advantage of all the Black Friday sales, etc. And I knew I'd be purchasing this from Neiman Marcus because Neiman Marcus and Saks are the only two places that I've seen carry this. And I really wanted to get it at a discount. And if you didn't know, Neiman Marcus has a tremendous sale. I want to say the first week of December, it's like 25% off everything. That includes fragrances. That's pretty remarkable. And it includes designer fragrances as well. So I always make a big purchase in December. And so the fragrance that I got, and I waited like 8 months to pick this up, is by Cartier and is called Le Promise, or the Hour of Promise, or Promise Hour. And this is really this is a very unique take on an iris perfume. So you have so iris to me shares the spotlight, but the iris in here, it's powdery, but it's also very buttery from the orris root. So it has a buttery quality and a very slight vegetal quality. I think orris root many times can smell like a carrot. It can smell vegetal, but in here it's very buttery and slightly powdery. It also has a subtle greenness from petitgrain. So this is a very quiet petitgrain. It's not sharp or bitter, but it just lends a slight greenness, a slight freshness to the opening. A little bit woody in the dry down, a touch of sweetness, just a touch as it dries down. And this is a super quiet fragrance. And I think this is an EDT. So that's one of the reasons. It's a very versatile fragrance. I think it's a very universally appealing fragrance. I think if people smell this on you, that they will think you smell pretty. It's not overpowering. It's work appropriate, group appropriate, because it is very quiet. If you like a loud, bombastic iris fragrance, this is not going to be it. This is very special. I do think that this is a reformulated version compared to the sample I got, just because the bottle is different, but it's still quite lovely. One of my special purchases from December and this year, and I have the lovely Seeking Star Water to thank for it. The next fragrance is one of my favorite pickups of 2022, and I have the Dr. Claire Smith to thank for it, and it's my Glossier You. This is a great Your Skin But Better. This is a great white t-shirt fragrance. It is a good, that clean girl, clean person aesthetic perfume. And for a little bit, it was hard to get because it was sold out at the Glossier website, but I finally got a bottle and I'm super happy. It's another one that's very work appropriate because it's not very loud. The funny thing is, for the first 10 seconds when I smell this, I get Swedish fish, like a very slight candied sweetness. And I love Swedish fish. I love gummy bears and Swedish fish. But it has that sweetness just for a bit and then kind of quickly goes away. And then to me, this smells like a slightly sweetened iris chapstick that kind of was uncapped and it was at the bottom of your purse, kind of swishing around in the debris. So it's a touch powdery, almost to the point of being chalky, and there's a woodiness in here, just maybe even like pencil shavy wood, as if that chapstick was brushed up against a pencil at the bottom of a purse. It's very light and everything is kind of swirling in this clean, powdery musk. I absolutely adore this, and it's light wearing, mild to moderate performance. You're not gonna get more than 6 hours tops from this one, but I do like it, and I think this would be great for people who are very picky about their fragrances. Fragrances give them a headache. This one might be a good one to try. So the next person is responsible for 2 fragrance purchases of mine, and her name is Lori Hicks. And months and months and months ago, she recommended Rouge Velours to me by Yves Saint Laurent. And she said, Chris, I think you're gonna love it. And she was right. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love this fragrance. One of the few perfumes that has a prominent jasmine note that I really, really do like. This is a fragrance that smells like the juice looks. It's a very rich perfume. It's rose, patchouli, pink pepper, and jasmine. Those are the 4 notes I get. I don't really get a whole lot else. And that's really all I need. It is a beautiful take on a floral perfume. It's kind of syrupy, has a little bit of a syrupy sweetness, but it's not overly saccharine or sweet. And the pink pepper is prominent. I do get it, but it's not overly peppery. But I absolutely do get that pink pepper up at the top in here. And this kind of reads dressed up to me. I've worn it to work a couple times, but this is just a little bit more elevated fragrance. So my first purchase based on Lori's recommendation. The second one was because she was so generous and sent me a lovely bag of these humongous decants. She sent me a whole bag of decants like this. And the one in the gold bottle, I liked them all. I mean, they all were lovely, but the one in the gold bottle really stole my heart. It is the famous one by Diptyque, and it is Benjoin Boheme. And I thought, oh my Lord, I love this. I have to get a bottle. And so when I tried to find a bottle, it was sold out at the Diptyque boutiques, and I kind of breathed this huge sigh of relief because it's expensive, and I thought, oh, that gives me an excuse not to buy it. So I put my name on the wait list thinking they would never contact me. And maybe about 3 weeks ago, they sent me an email and said the Diptyque store in Houston had a bottle. And so what do you think I did? I bought it. I have been decluttering a lot of fragrances that I just don't wear. In fact, many of the fragrances that I decluttered and show on my declutter, I've had a YouTube channel for 2 years. 95% of them you've never seen on a video because I just didn't wear them and didn't talk about them. So this was a big splurge for me, but I didn't feel badly about it because I had just decluttered several fragrances that I didn't wear, and to make room for something beautiful like this fragrance, oh my Lord, this is utterly spectacular. Don't get your nose on it. You'll fall in love and you'll want to buy a bottle like I did. And it's not cheap, but it's worth every penny. So this is a very benzoin heavy fragrance. It's very balsamic. And another fragrance love of mine, I just did the video 5 minutes ago, so I still have the bottle here. Oh, it's over here. The other benzoin heavy fragrance I have is Kaftan. They're both very heavy on the benzoin, that benzoin sweetness. So it's just a note that really appeals to me. It's a balsamic, warm, ambery, vanilla combination with a strong hit of cinnamon. So there's cinnamon in here. There's a soft sandalwood and just a touch of greenness. I'm not sure what that is. I mean, I haven't had it that long to become too familiar with all the notes. I'll put the notes up like I always do, but that's just what I get. A sweet, balsamic, ambery vanilla, which is just a touch powdery. Actually, you know what? I think that the green note is Angelica. And yeah, I do think that, so the Angelica note in here is like the Angelica note in Angelique Noir. I don't know, it just is so nice with vanillas. And oh my gosh, this smells like $1,000,000. If I smelled this on somebody, I would think, wow, that person probably spent a lot of money on that very fancy fragrance and they smell really good. Oh my gosh. This is spectacular, and one of my very special pickups of, let's see, no, I think I got it. I think I might have just got it at the beginning of this year, but I ordered it at the end of December. So it does count as a 2022 pickup. So yeah, one of my special pickups for the calendar year. And thank you, Lori, for being such a wonderful subscriber, leaving all sorts of lovely notes and being so generous with these lovely decants, all of the samples that you sent me, I had never smelled these fragrances. So thank you for influencing me. So the second to last one is because of another creator here. Her name is Charlie. She goes by Phoenix, and she's a real doll. And I've known her for a while. I think we both started our channel around the same time. And she recommended to me Juniper Sling by Penhaligons. And boy, I really love this perfume because this to me reminds me of a spa, and I'm gonna do a video, Smell Like a Spa, this month. And this perfume is gonna be in this video because it's very fresh. It's very fresh, woody, warm take on juniper. It smells like a gin and tonic without the lime. So take that citrusy freshness from a gin and tonic, add some pepper, add some spices, juniper berries, evergreen garnish, and that's what you get. It's very clean. It's very clean, but it's warm at the same time. And I do get kind of a leathery suede in the dry down. And I want to say there's vetiver in here. So this to me reminds me of a spa, maybe a spa in the foothills of California or Utah. You just got out of your spa treatment and you're walking back to your little cabin at night, smelling like this, fresh and clean, but woody and aromatic at the same time. This one definitely could be worn year round. To me, it reads a little bit more hot weather, and it is light wearing. So I think in the bitter cold that we get here, probably doesn't do well because it is a light wearing fragrance to begin with. That's why I think it is fantastic in the summer. Love it. It is my mountain spa getaway in a bottle. And the last one is from a friend I met here through YouTube. She's such a doll. I think she first started watching me when I did a vanilla series the first year I had a YouTube, which, by the way, please don't go back and watch my old videos. They were absolutely disastrous and cringeworthy. The fact that she followed me early on is a miracle. But anyway, she's been so lovely. She sends me decants and samples on a monthly basis. She's very picky. She loves her vanillas. She loves her gourmands. She placed an order to Jevois, and something got mixed up with the order, and they sent her the wrong bottle. Instead of making her send it back, they told her to keep it. Well, this fragrance wasn't really up her alley, but she sent it to me, and oh my gosh, can I just tell you how much I love it? It is called Ampla Noir, and it comes in this cool little coffret. I'm going to call it a coffret. It sits in its little chair, and it came with these 4 oils. And at first I didn't try the oils, but I'll tell you in just a bit. But this fragrance turned out to be a big love for me, because I love ambers and ambery vanillas. And this is an ambery vanilla fragrance, that I'm loving. And you know what I'm thinking about? I just realized I've never done an amber fragrance in the 2 years I've had a channel. And I don't know how that happened because I love ambery fragrances. If you want to see a video based on ambery fragrances or my favorite ambery perfumes, let me know in the comments section and I'll be happy to do it, because January, February, it's a great time to do it. But anyway, Ampla Noir is a special fragrance because it's an ambery vanilla, but it actually has a beautiful note of myrrh. Myrrh and I don't always get along because myrrh can smell medicinal at times. But here the myrrh is sweet and spicy, just the way I like it. It's a balsamic fragrance. It's surrounded by resins. Now, when I tested it on paper, what I did get like a cumin note. I don't know if cumin is in here, but I got something that kind of smelled like cumin. And cumin and I, we do not get along at all. It does not go well with it doesn't go well and I don't like it. But this is very different on the spray test. I don't get that cumin note. It does have a little bit of aromatic spiciness in the beginning, but those kind of fade. And then you get this smooth orris. I think it's an orris. I think there's orris in here, so it's more of an orris butter rather than the iris. Smooth and powdery and sweet. There is sandalwood in here, so there's a creaminess from sandalwood, and I think there's a little bit of leather in the dry down, but to me it's kind of covered up by the most delectable ambery vanilla. This is Elegance in a bottle right here. Terrific lasting power, a dressed up fragrance, very long lasting. And it took me weeks and weeks before trying these oils. And oh my gosh, I used to not like oils. This past year I've fallen in love with so many oils, many of which or at least a few of which I've talked about. One of these oils in here is one of the best things I've ever smelled. And of course, it would be called Erotic Molecule, of course. My daughter told me before I started this channel, she said, "Mom, just promise me 2 things. Promise me that you won't be boring and you won't embarrass me." I think I failed miserably with both of those 2 long ago. But yeah, so of course the one I like the most is called Erotic Molecule. But oh my God, oh my God. This smells so good. This is just beyond, this is intoxicating. The first thing I did when I smelled this, after going, oh my God, this smells so good, is I went to the website to see if I could buy an entire vat of it. And from what I see from their website, this is only sold in these teeny little, I think the biggest one they carry is like an 8 ml. I don't care, I'll order 60 of them, it's so good. The other oils are really, really good too. I think I liked every single one of them, but this one was the best. I get a beautiful, oh my God, it's woody. It's like this woody musk. to die for. I literally could fill up my swimming pool, put goggles on, and dive into my pool with this thing. I want to swim in this. I want to bathe in it. I will be getting more of this. I'm going to figure out a way to get a big bottle of it. But anyways, so Susan has been responsible for so many fragrance discoveries, but I have to thank her for handing this one on to me. Thank you for being so picky, Susan, and not liking this, because your trash is my treasure. So that was it. I think that was 10, that might have been 11. 10 fragrances I was influenced to buy thanks to you, my subscribers, and my creator friends here on YouTube, and I am thrilled with every last one of them. Thank you again, and keep the recommendations coming, folks. I love it when you guys tell me about a fragrance gem of yours. Share it with me and share it with everybody in the comments. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching. If you like my content, I would love it if you give me a thumbs up, subscribe to support my channel, and I will see you on the next one.